Parli italiano? Parli italiano?
English, please.
Okay. So you have people here who would have lived in 3 or 4 countries without ever moving.
Io ho il genero che lavora top secret in America.
Wow. C'è l'Italia! Tutti dokumentarac. Good afternoon, guys, from Zagreb, the capital of Croatia, a country that, if you were to poll people from around Europe and ask them what part of Europe Croatia is in, you would get answers ranging from Eastern Europe to Central Europe, Southern Europe, and even Western Europe. But that is not the topic of today's video. In fact, Croatia is not even the topic of today's video. As is often the case when we're in Zagreb on this channel, we are only here to pass through. That's mostly because Zagreb is so accessible from many different parts of Europe. And you can use it easily as a springboard to go south, deeper into the Balkans, to go east, to go west. So if you ask me, I guess Croatia is Central Europe after all. We're not here to talk about Croatia today, because just about 10 miles to the west of here is another country, the beautiful little country of Slovenia. And over the next few days, we're going to talk a lot about the relationships of those two countries, Slovenia and Croatia, with yet another country further to the west, Italy. Due to the close geography of Italy, Slovenia, Croatia, and before that, Italy and Yugoslavia, and before that, Italy and the Austro-Hungarian Empire, Italian relations with the countries directly to its east have always been tense. They've always been eventful. There have been territorial disputes. There have been wars. And today, even though most of those issues have been resolved, well, you can still see some of the effects of those relations even today in 2025. So join me over the next few days as we travel through Slovenia, come back to Croatia, and we will explore the history and the present of the relations between Italy and its eastern neighbors. Episode 1, trying to find the Italians of Slovenia. Join me. So step 1, in about an hour, we have a bus to Ljubljana, the capital of Slovenia. We're gonna sleep there tonight, and then tomorrow we will head to the coast. Slovenia has a very small coastline, and apparently there are still some Italians who live there and speak the Italian language today. So let's see if we can find some Italians in Slovenia and speak the Italian language. But before the bus comes and we go to Ljubljana, I have something very important to do, which is buy a pair of pants, because this is the only pair of non-fancy pants that I own, and these are just not made for adventuring. You see? You know, maybe they'll work out fine here in Zagreb, but in the places that we're going to, we're gonna want some more adventurous pants. And guys, I'll be honest with you, this trip that I am embarking on now, over the next 8 days or so, through Croatia, Slovenia, back to Croatia, and then into Bosnia, has to be one of the most unhinged trips that I've ever planned in my life. As many of you know, I have a full-time job now, so I can't travel as much as I used to. So that means that when I have vacation time, I have to make the absolute most of it. So over the next week or so, we're gonna be taking buses, trains, we're gonna be renting cars. There might be a boat or two in our future. We'll see if it all goes according to plan. I'm sure something will not work out at some point, but we will deal with that when we get there. And I'm happy to let you know that the biggest risk of this entire trip is already done, because I flew Ryanair to get to Croatia. And I think that even the chaotic transport system of the Balkans is no match for Ryanair. I've found a store that may sell pants. No. We're 45 minutes late. They close early because it's Easter Friday. Good Friday, I think they call that. And now I'm pantsless. Okay guys, well my singular mission here in Zagreb today was to buy some pants. That mission has now failed. But that's okay, because we're gonna continue on our adventure anyways. So here's the plan. I'm gonna take this bus from Zagreb to Ljubljana. We'll arrive there around 7 p.m. tonight. I want to show you guys one thing quickly in Ljubljana, and then tomorrow morning, bright and early, we head to the coast. Let's go get the bus. We have a 15-minute break on our way to Ljubljana, here on the side of the highway. And I'm gonna eat some sardines during this break at this table. Check it out, we've been in Slovenia for 5 minutes and there's already a castle. The main thing I wanted to tell you, as I eat these sardines in vegetables and sauce, follow me on Instagram, Bend the Rules YT. Trying to get more followers. If you send me a message over there, I'll probably message you back. Well, hello from Ljubljana. Look at these buildings, these tall buildings. These are some nice new fancy buildings here in downtown Ljubljana, but we are going to see an older building, but still a very futuristic building. We are going to see a Yugoslav gas station. So come along and you will see the coolest gas station you've ever seen in your life as well. I recently saw the gas station on the internet and I knew I needed to come by and see it. And we have just enough daylight to get the full Yugoslav gas station experience, so come check it out. And check it out, guys, here we are. It is a Yugoslav gas station. Check this out. The whole thing is supported by this one beam in the middle. It's almost like a giant tree trunk, like a concrete tree trunk. This thing was built in the late 1960s by a Yugoslav architect guy. And you can see it's kind of like a tree, a canopy, this super futuristic gas station, which isn't a gas station anymore, to be fair. But this is quite big. I mean, and for it all to be just held up by this one pillar here, this is true Yugoslav ingenuity here. Bravo. Došao sam iz Amerike za vidjeti benzinska pumpa.
O,
Ja.
iz Amerike.
Iz Amerike, da, samo za vidjeti ovo. Ne pričam slovenski, samo hrvatski.
Odlično.
Razumijem?
Razumijem ja te.
Ja, okej, super.
Ja Bosanka.
A, Bosanke, odakle?
Velika Kladuš.
A, bio sam u Velikoj Kladušoj,
Ja.
jer u moj...
Otkud si ti?
Iz Jutika, to je... Ima dosta ljudi iz Velike... Utika, ja.
Amo iz Hrvatske otkud? A Hrvatska?
Ne, ja sam Amerikanac. Naučio sam jer trebao bi reći da pričam bosanski, ne hrvatski, jer naučio sam sa Bosanci. Samo rekao sam hrvatski jer mi smo blizu.
Bosanskog kantona je puno došlo.
Ja. U Jutiku ima oko 3000 ljudi iz Velike Kladuše u moj gradu, Americi. Kako se zove?
Ja, Rubija.
Rubija?
Ja.
Benjamin.
Bravo, još i naše ime imaš.
Ja.
Imaš bosansko ime.
So here you have it. This beautiful piece of Yugoslav architecture, still standing strong. This one pillar holding up this whole roof, and this one pillar holding up all of these cigarette butts. I don't know what is more impressive, the Yugoslav gas station or the Yugoslav cigarette holder. Both are beautiful in their own way. It's time to go to bed, but tomorrow we have a big day ahead of us. We're going to take a train in the morning to Koper, to Capodistria, as they call it in Italy, the head of Istria, and we will finally travel into Istria. It's a place that many of you have been telling me to go for a long time, and tomorrow we're finally going to go there, and we are going to attempt to speak the Italian language in Slovenia. Good morning, guys, from the Trg Republike, the Square of the Republic, formerly known as the Square of the Revolution during Yugoslav times. We are back in front of our favorite unfinished communist Yugoslav buildings, TR2 and TR3. And this square really represents the center of Slovenia. From a geographical sense, it's right in the middle of the country, but also from a political and a cultural sense. This is the assembly building of the Parliament of Slovenia. And of course, you have famous Yugoslav monuments and buildings. And so this is a very historical place here in the center of Slovenia. However, today, we are going to be traveling to the very edge of Slovenia. In about 1 hour, we are going to take a train to the edge of the country. We're going to go to the coast, away from the center of the capital city, and we are going to explore the complex history and present between Slovenia and Italy in the mythical region of Istria. So join me on a journey to Istria. And cue the historical montage. This is the peninsula of Istria, or as it's known in Slovenian and Croatian, Istra. Mostly a part of modern-day Croatia, it also has small sections in Slovenia and Italy. The peninsula has a long history and was especially prominent during Roman times. In the late Middle Ages, Istria, along with lots of other territory along the Adriatic Sea, became a part of the Venetian Empire, which would rule over the peninsula until 1797. During Venetian rule, a large Italian population settled in the region, especially along the coast and in the cities, with Slavic populations being more prominent away from the coasts. Then, in 1797, the Austrian Empire took control of the peninsula and left their own mark. However, Venetian-speaking Italians continued to dominate the islands and cities along the coasts. At the same time, the 19th century saw Croatian and Slovenian national movements begin to gain traction. By 1910, the coasts and cities were still largely Italian-speaking, but Italians no longer made up a majority of the peninsula's population, as the interior of Istria was almost entirely Slavic in ethnicity and language. After World War I, in 1920, the territory was ceded to Italy, against the will of the newly formed Kingdom of Yugoslavia. In 1922, the fascists came to power in Italy under Mussolini and began a campaign of Italianization in Istria, where Slavic languages were banned in favor of Italian, along with other repressive efforts. During World War II, Italians continued occupying the region until their armistice in 1943, when Nazi Germany took over the region. Then, in 1944 and 45, the Yugoslav partisans successfully expelled the fascist occupiers from the region. After World War II, the region fell under Tito's Yugoslavia, a regime that in many cases sought revenge on the Italian population, including oppression and even massacres of civilians. Therefore, between 200,000 and 300,000 Italians left Istria and Dalmatia, known as the Istrian-Dalmatian Exodus, dramatically reducing the Italian population in the region. Today, a small Italian minority remains in Istria, recognized in both Slovenia and Croatia, mainly in coastal towns. As of the 2020s, it is estimated that between 15,000 and 30,000 Italians remain in Croatia and Slovenia, with the majority of them residing in Croatian Istria. In Slovenia, the number is much lower, with only about 3,000 Italians estimated to be living in the country today. This is my mission to find them. And since we have about an hour until our train, you guys know what that means. I'm going to try to buy some pants once again. Check it out, it's perfect, so light. We got some pants, guys. Thanks to the good people at Intersport Ljubljana for helping me out. These pants were 60 euros, which I think is a bit insane for a pair of pants. But maybe that's just how much pants cost nowadays. It's been a while since I've bought pants. But this is an investment for the channel. These are now the official pants of Bend the Rules. And I'm looking forward to wearing them on some big adventures. We'll change into them soon. But now let's get some breakfast and let's get on the train and go find some Italians. Check this out, guys. I'm both filming and editing the video at the same time. This is the same video that you're watching right now. Crazy, right? Welcome to Koper, or for the Italian viewers, to Capodistria. And the train arrived here about 15 to 20 minutes late, which to me just proves that Slovenia is indeed a Balkan country. They will try to tell you that it's not a Balkan country, but 20-minute late train, I mean, come on, it's not Switzerland. It's estimated that in 1945 there were about 30,000 Italians living in what is now Slovenia. However, because of the mass exodus of Italians in the 1940s and 50s, and then a continuous drop-off ever since, in 2002, it's estimated that in Koper there were about 1,000 people whose mother tongue was Italian. So let's go see if we can't find a couple of those Italians and speak Italian here in Slovenia. I couldn't find anything online about an Italian neighborhood or anything like that in Koper. So we're gonna go to the old town because, I don't know, old town, there's probably old people. I would guess that most of the Italians here are older. And we'll go from there, we'll ask around. But the first thing is my bus, which leaves from here in about 3 hours. I believe it's from a different bus station than the main bus station, which is here. So I'm gonna go to the bus station and ask them to confirm that my bus is coming from a different place. And I'm gonna ask them if they speak Italian. Officially, Koper or Capodistria is a bilingual town. I should say it's a bilingual city. It's the 5th biggest city in Slovenia with a population of about 25,000 people, which is honestly bigger than I thought. Parlo italiano?
Sì.
Allora, ho un pullman a Pula, ma viene a Koper Banca, non è questo qui.
Non è qua.
Ok.
Nel centro. Di dove sei? Italiano?
Io sono americano.
Ah.
Sei italiana?
No.
No, ok. E sono venuto qui perché parlo italiano e ho sentito che si parla italiano qui, è vero?
Si parla, sì.
Ok.
Stazione Banca è in centro e circa 10 minuti di cammino da qui.
Ok, niente.
Dietro questo grande building.
Ok. E poi dove posso trovare qualcuno qui che è di madrelingua italiana? Ad esempio nel centro storico c'è molta gente qui che parla italiano
Tutti
come...
parlano.
Ok, tutti parlano.
Sì, ma proprio io non conosco nessuno che è di madrelingua italiana qua in Slovenia, in Capodistria. Da Trieste conosco gente.
Sì, certo, certo.
Comunque parlano tutti italiano.
And just like that, we've already found an Italian speaker, not a native Italian speaker. It seemed like she had learned the language at school, but she clearly speaks often enough to be fluent in Italian. I would say her Italian was about the same as mine, maybe a bit better. And she said that she doesn't know anyone from here whose native language is Italian, but we're still gonna see if we can find someone who grew up speaking Italian as their first language in Slovenia. So cool. What a cool place. This place is, oh, what is this? I guess there used to be a church here. I wonder, now there's just a cross. But this is the Serbian Orthodox Church here. Something to do with the Serbian Orthodox Church. Anyways, we're not here for the Serbian Orthodox Church. Maybe another time. We're here to find some native Italian speakers. Dobar dan. Parla italiano?
No.
No, ok. Hvala. Centro storico, center. Gdje je center? Tam? No? Wow. That guy did not want to speak Italian, or any language, really. I wonder if he was offended that I was speaking Italian, or if I just came on too strong. Maybe the Slovenes can let me know in the comments. Did I do something wrong? Guys, by the way, I've put on the new pants. And I'm cruising. I feel great in these new pants. They're very breathable. It's weird because they're like stretchy but tight at the same time. So I'm able to like really walk and move around. These are proper adventurizing pants. The other pants were heavy. I couldn't walk too fast because I didn't want to start sweating. But now I feel like I can really cruise. I think I found the old town. So a lot of signs are in both languages, especially of like businesses. You have lekarna and farmacia. But then like over there it says, like this sign is in Slovenian, this yield to pedestrian sign. I think that's what it is. So on paper it is a bilingual city. So like this one, for example, Tegram, you have on the left you have all the Slovenian words, and then on the right you have Italian, like riscaldamenti, ceramiche, keramica, ogrevanje, riscaldamenti, vodo installacije, installazioni idriche. So voila. So yeah, definitely you can feel that there is the presence of Italian. If I were to describe this intersection, I don't think I would be able to do it very directly. It would probably have to be in like a roundabout way. Dobar dan. Parla italiano? No. Centro storico è lì? Centro storico center? Center. Stari grad?
Ja.
Yeah, okay. Tam. Okay.
Tam.
Hvala. Dobar dan. Parla italiano? Allora, io sono venuto qui perché parlo italiano e volevo vedere se c'è gente che parla italiano in realtà.
Sì, che ti serve?
Allora, sei cresciuto parlando italiano o come hai imparato? Alla scuola? A scuola. E quindi la madrelingua è sloveno. Sloveno, croato, italiano? Sloveno, ok. Ne parlo, non parlo sloveno. Parlo croato, ma quindi è simile, ma... Da.
Eto onda, ne mora znati italijanski ni slovenski, svi ovdje Hrvatsko.
Ok, ja, to je slično. A koliko ljudi ovdje pričaju italijanski? Svi? Ne?
90%.
90%? Wow.
To su 3-4 škole italijanske, fakultet italijanski.
A, je, ok. Al...
Ostaje si ti.
Iz Amerike?
Amerikano.
Da.
Italijan, Amerika.
A vi ste odavde, od Koper?
Ja,
Ok.
nacionalac Amerika.
Ja.
Pravi Amerikanac.
Da, pravi, 100%.
Šta će nam Trump napraviti?
Aha. What a beautiful little town Koper is. And here we've reached the old town. The streets have gotten skinnier. Yeah, now we're starting to get into some of the beautiful stuff. I bet there's Italian speakers around here. Ciao, parli italiano? Italiano, hrvatski? Samo slovenski? It's a trilingual cat. This cat speaks Slovenian, Serbo-Croatian, and Italian. This is one of the nicer and more peaceful places I've ever eaten a can of tuna. But the guy we just talked to, Milorad, said that 90% of people speak Italian here. I opened up the tuna so I could give some to that cat and then it ran away. Maybe it's vegetarian. Okay guys, now this is suspicious because here it says Vrtna ulica. And this is a topic that I wanted to get into, which I probably will get more into tomorrow. Vrtna ulica. But then below it says Calle or Calle degli Orti. So it's literally street of the gardens in both languages, but Calle is not Italian. Calle is Spanish, of course, but in Italian it would be strada or via or something else. So I'm guessing that Calle must be the local Istrian dialect. Dobar dan, parla italiano?
No, slovensko.
A slovensko?
Da.
Calle, to je italijanski, al...
Vrtna ulica slovensko, Kale de je italijan.
Al parlo italiano,
Ja.
govorim, pričaš hrvatski?
Hrvatski, da.
Ok, govorim italijanski
Ja.
i na italijanskom kažu, ne kažu Kale. Kale je dalmatski jezik, šta je to? Šta je?
Istra.
Istra, ok.
Istrijanski.
Pa to je malo drugačije od...
Drugačije malo od italijanski. To
Ok,
je
ok.
istrijanski.
Ok.
To je Istra.
Aha. I koliko ljudi ovdje pričaju italijanski?
30%, 40%.
30%, ok. Jesi li naučio malo u školu ili?
Slovensko.
Italijanski.
Italijansko.
Ja.
Jesi iz?
Ja sam iz Amerike.
Iz Amerike.
Ja. Al ti, jel...
Ja sam iz Makedonije.
Makedonija. Bio sam u Makedoniju, u Prilep. I did not know that Koper was going to be so nice. And this old town, I mean, we'll see as we get maybe closer to the sea, but this old town is not overrun with tourists either. It's very authentic. Gimnazijski trg, piazzale del ginnasio. In this case, ginnasio meaning middle school or high school, which I'm guessing is this here. Via Jacobus Gallus. Wow, this is such a cool town for me, guys. This is one of the coolest places I've ever been. You have just a little bit of everything going on, and I think that as we travel deeper into Istria tonight and tomorrow, I think we're gonna see that. We're gonna see that firsthand, that there's a little bit of everything going on. Ulica Stare Pošte, Calle della Posta Vecchia. So the old post office would have been on this street. And the two people that we've asked about the population who speaks Italian here, we've heard 90% and 30%. I mean, 90 seems high, 30, I mean, maybe from what we've seen so far, I think that seems about right, but we'll keep asking around. Of course, what do you mean by speaks? There's probably a lot of people who had to take Italian in school, and so they can, you know, like give directions or something, but they can't really do much beyond that. And then there's like two of the people who we've met who can hold a conversation in Italian. Look at this park. It's, you know, this part of the city feels a bit more modern than where we just were. Because of course this area was the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Well, before that even, this was part of the Venetian Empire, which ruled all along the Adriatic coast. And then it became a part of Austria-Hungary. But look at this. I mean, this is probably 2,000 years old, this little thing right here. So I think it really just shows the amount of history and changing hands that this area of Istria has undergone. And I think you can see that in the people here. It's a very mixed and interesting place. Izvinite. Scusa. Rimski carstvo. Rimski, wow. Super, hvala. I mean, just think of all the things that have happened in this city alone. And we have only touched the tip of the iceberg. Literally, we are at the northern tip, roughly, of Istria. And this is the main cathedral of Koper. I wonder when it was built. Look at that. Wow. Okay, so you can see here, this street down here is a bit more touristy, but at least the entire old town isn't like that. And here is the best part of this entire square, which is a beautiful square. You have this old building, which who knows, might go back to Venetian times or something, or Austro-Hungarian times. You have the old cathedral, this beautiful historical square. And it's called Titov Trg, Piazza Tito. So even though this square is hundreds or maybe even more than 1,000 years old, Tito managed to leave his mark on it anyways. Ne slovenski. Parli italiano?
Italiano?
Sì.
Italiano?
Io sono siciliano? Sto facendo un documentario su...
sulla città.
Sì. Sì.
Di Koper.
Di dove sei? Di qua?
Fa 3 ulice dol.
Sì, ok.
Da 2 quartieri.
Sì, capito. Parlo croato, bosniaco, quindi...
Sono croato.
Razumijem slovensko, ja.
Sloveno è difficile, no?
Sì, certo.
Italiano è semplice.
Ma l'hai imparato a scuola? O...
Sì, italiano, sono 2 zone. Una qui e una lì.
Ma come hai imparato l'italiano? Ma con la famiglia o...
La mia vita. Guarda qui, cazzo.
E non ti... va bene che...
Guarda, grazie a te. Parliamo qua. Fuck off, motherfucker.
Come ti chiami?
Luca.
Con la
C.
Con la G.
Con la C.
Con la C.
Con la C.
Luzza.
Perché cioè c'è l'Italia. Koper. Tutti dokumentarac. Evo ga. Nije to grad.
Pa ti si kralj.
Ja sam kralj, brave. Pa rad bi bio raje princ. Nisam Mufasa, ja bi bio raje princ. Ja snimam kraljeve krvi, ja bi bio raje princ. Kapiti? Oddio, mono. Muovite fermo. Ma come bene muovite fermo? Lo sa che te significa muovite fermo in siciliano? Sta tranquillo.
Sta tranquillo, ok, muoviti fermo.
Sta tranquillo.
Sì.
Muovite fermo. Te...
La più bella città del
bella
mondo.
città del mondo.
Capodistria, Koper.
Capodistria.
E questo è il porto.
Sei belvedere.
Sì, sì, sì.
Ma no, dopo, sai, un po' di fortuna, la luna, un po' di coglioni, un po' di... Andiamo,
un po' di
dai,
tutto,
dai, andiamo, dai, no, andiamo.
Evo. Porto.
Rimajte stari tle, passato tle, terremoto tle, te, infatti, non so, oh yeah. Muovite fermo.
Muovite fermo.
Ascolta bene, sta a miro. No? Muovite fermo.
What a legend that guy was, this guy Luka. Slovenia's only port. Slovenia only has 3 real towns on the sea, being Koper, Pirano, maybe Piran in Slovenian, I'm not sure, and then Isola. And Koper is the biggest city out of the 3 of them by a good amount, and so this is where the port of Slovenia is. Or maybe it's the other way around, that this is the biggest city because it has the port. Anyways, as Luka was explaining to me, just over this hill here you have Trieste. And then if you continue over there, along this coast somewhere, is the famous city of Venice. So you have Venice, Trieste, and we are definitely looking at Italy over there. Like this land here, maybe not this here, but if you just go beyond that, that is Italy. Italia. Luca was also telling me that his family is Italian, or at least to some degree. I mean, his name is Luca, with a C, importantly, because I think if it was a Slavic name, it would be with a K. Here you go. I mean, we've found clearly the mark of Italy being left here on Koper, Capodistria. Look at this. Maybe it's not a World War II spomenik, but it's still a beautiful piece of Yugoslav art. Well, actually, you know what? It says the vertical warriors. So maybe this is actually a partisan World War II spomenik. Either way, it's a very beautiful piece of art. Just more examples of the Yugoslavs making cool stuff. Look at this little alley. I don't even think this leads to another street. This is beautiful. This might be one of my favorite streets I've ever seen. It doesn't even have a name, I don't think. Garibaldi, the guy who united Italy. And this cafe, which is closed today, probably because of the holiday, this cafe is named after him. So this whole street is named after Garibaldi. Garibaldieva Ulica and Via Giuseppe Garibaldi. And Garibaldi is, of course, the guy who united Italy, and so he's a very famous figure in Italian history. And so the Italians of Koper, or Capodistria, they've named a street after him because at one time this was part of Italy. So I wonder when exactly the street was named after him. Maybe it was a political move. No idea. Maybe it's just a famous Italian guy and there's Italians here. But interesting nonetheless that the unifier of Italy has a street named after him in Slovenia. A beautiful street too. It's so quiet and peaceful in this town. I know most of the video I'm talking, but honestly I'm just spending most of the time walking in silence because it's very quiet. Walking in the sun is making me kind of sleepy. Maybe we need a coffee. But yeah, it's just such a peaceful town, and it makes me want to sleep. Parli italiano? And here, guys, is the first example I've found of something that is completely Italian in nature. So this apparently was put up on some building in 1805 by the French, I guess. Maybe I'm reading this wrong. But then it was taken down. Maybe it was taken down by the French in 1805. Anyways, the point is that in 1924, which was just 4 years after Koper became a part of Italy, this was put up here on this building. This lion, which is the symbol of the Empire of Venice. This was clearly put up to be a symbol of Italian power here in Koper or Capodistria, and here it is still, 101 years after it was put up by the Italians. And that would have been fascist Italia under Mussolini, because he came to power just before 1924. So there you go. They marked their territory. All right, let's get that coffee to get a second wind. Parli italiano?
English, please.
Okay. You're from here?
No,
From
I'm
Koper?
not. I'm living here, but I'm not originally from here.
Where are you from?
I'm from Macedonia.
Okay. I was in Macedonia. Where are you from?
Gostiva.
Okay, I went to Prilep and Skopje. Pričaš se srpski?
Da,
Okay.
ja.
Došao sam ovdje jer pričam italijanski isto i tražim neki ljudi s kim mogu pričati italijanski.
On zna da priča italijanski.
Aha. Parli italiano?
Sì.
Aha, ma sei italiano?
No, io sono nato qua, ma qua si impara anche a scuola.
Ok, c'è gente qui che è madrelingua italiana o no?
Sì, però dopo seconda guerra mondiale
Sì.
sono tutti partiti perché c'era
Ok.
il comunismo.
Sì.
Ci sono ancora qualche persona, sì.
Ne conosci? Conosci qualcuno?
Conosco tanti che penso che sono, ma non ho mai chiesto se
Capito.
sono proprio italiani o se sono famiglie che parlano a casa italiano, fuori sloveno.
Tuo papà parlava italiano?
Ah, ma di mio papà, quindi mia nonna
Capito.
era di una famiglia italiana.
Ok. Well, that guy at the bar was telling me that this statue here was given to the city of Koper by the Venetians because they provided a ship to help them defeat the Ottomans. And so this is probably 400 or 500 years old. Turka. Just look at this house here. I mean, how old do you think these bricks are? These walls have existed in several countries without ever moving. The guy back there at the cafe was telling me that they had a joke, some of the older people here, that they were born in Italy, they lived in Yugoslavia, and then they lived in Slovenia as well. Or for even older people, you could even add in Austria-Hungary. So you have people here who would have lived in 3 or 4 countries without ever moving. I mean, that's insane. That just in the 20th century alone, the city of Koper was in 4 different countries. Ciao, parli italiano?
Sì, parlo.
Sì.
Sono origine italiana.
Ah, di dove? Di qui?
Mia mamma era di Bergamo.
Ok.
E mio padre era francese.
Ok, vous parlez français?
Anche però meglio italiano.
Ok,
più.
Capito.
Sì, cosa vuoi?
Ma lei è cresciuta qui?
Sì, ho cresciuto qui, sono 500 anni.
Wow.
Sì, tutto, ho studiato, ho lavorato in banca intesa e io sono economista.
Wow, come
Però
si chiama?
75 anni.
Cioè, quanti anni?
75.
Wow, non si vede.
Ma sono i geni
Sì.
francesi.
Capito.
E ho molto... Da dove è lei?
Di America, degli Stati Uniti.
America. Sono stata anche in America.
Ma lei è cresciuta parlando italiano o sloveno?
No, sloveno e italiano.
Ok.
Mia mamma non sapeva mai
Sloveno.
sloveno.
Wow! Quando lei era bambina,
Sì.
quale lingua parlava meglio?
Italiano.
Italiano? Wow!
Sì. Io sono andata in prima classe che non sapevo una parola
Di sloveno.
slovena.
In realtà io sono venuto qui a Koper, a Capodistria,
Sì.
per trovare qualcuno di madrelingua italiano e sono riuscito.
Ti vedi? Sono Maria, tu?
Benjamin.
Benjamin. E sai cosa? Io ho il genero di Gorizia
Sì?
che lavora top secret in America.
Wow! Dove?
Sore-
Dove in America?
Non ti posso dire
Ok, non dico niente, non diciamo niente.
Eventuale persona,
sì.
vado in chiesa e benedire,
Sì.
noi benedire il pane, il tutto.
Cosa c'è qui?
Pane,
Pane?
la pancetta,
Wow.
sì, questo
Wow,
sì.
wow.
Per
Buona
domani,
Pasqua.
sì.
Sì.
Grazie altrettanto che vengono adesso fra una ora, vengono tutti da me 3 giorni.
Io ho 2 domande per lei.
Sì.
La prima è, c'è un dialetto qui? Cioè,
Sì,
è-
sì.
Veneziano. Parla veneziano o no?
Anche parlo
Ah.
sì.
Mi può dire una parola in
Una
veneziano?
parola, aspetta.
Come stai, ad esempio?
Aspetta,
Ah, altra
non
cosa.
c'è più mia mamma e poi parlo sempre in lingua.
Ma lei parlava veneziano?
Parlavo veneziano con mia madre, ma mia madre a 25 anni non c'è e non parlo più. Aspetta, come se conti? Come se conti?
Come se conti?
Come se conti? Se trovo qualche persona, ma vecchie se tutte morte, tutti si parlava proprio dialetto qua, veneziano.
Sì.
Devo andare.
Sì.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Buona
è stato un
Pasqua,
piacere.
buon viaggio.
Buona Pasqua, grazie mille. Ciao.
È bene che ti si trovi qui.
Sì.
Ciao.
Ci vediamo. I think it surprised some of the people who just walked by us to hear Italian in the streets, because I don't think many people speak Italian on a day-to-day basis. I should have asked her how often she uses the Italian language. It sounds like the Venetian dialect, the Istrian Venetian dialect, is pretty dead here at this point, at least in Koper. We'll see if that's the case tomorrow in Croatia. But yeah, so I think that's a great way to wrap up the time here. That was the perfect person to meet. So this is going to be the end of the video, but stick around, because tomorrow is a video that I've been excited for a long time. We are going to go into the depths of the Istrian peninsula, and we are going to see the Croatian side of Istria. So join me tomorrow south along the Adriatic coast in Croatian Istria. And I'm gonna go hop on a bus in 30 minutes to the beautiful city of Pula. I will see you there. And here, to wrap up the video for you, are some Yugoslav buildings. Easily one of my favorite cities I've ever visited.